It's the darn scammers, you guys. I'm getting all these scam calls. And when they call, it rings on my iPhone 10 and on my iPad. Now, it never freezes you guys. Maybe it does for a second, but doesn't like lock me out. It locks me out of YouTube. And of course, this phone here, I don't have to a phone company, and so it never rings. Thank God. Okay. Wow, this is the most chaotic Jimmy Rants Ask Me Anything I've ever done because all the distractions today. But I'm a pro. We're going to get back to it. But Deborah, I think that answered your question. Thank you for asking that. Their DNA testing, I mean, you can get that DNA testing out there from other places. It's really not a big deal. But I don't think it's a bad thing in and of itself. It's just funny they have to co-opt the ideas of people that are doing things the right way and doing things well because their way wasn't getting success. But I think that answers your question. Thank you so much. Alyssa says, you're cracking me up. Thanks for all your secrets, sharing all your secrets. You're seeing all the behind the scenes stuff today, Alyssa. You are. Jacob says, go with the flow. Yeah, that's all you can do. Some people crumble and fall when things don't go well. My brain, I go with the flow very easy. I know some people's brains, they're so focused that if something throws them off, you should, I'm not going to name names, but there's some people in the low carb space that they used to drive me nuts because if anything went wrong in their presentation when they were giving a talk, if something technological went wrong, the clicker didn't work, or there was a misspelled word on their slide, they lost their you know what. And I'm going, just let it go, just move on. And I would make a joke about it and then I'd move on like it's no big deal. But some people's brains don't let them do that. What about doing low carb and counting Weight Watchers points? Why would you do that to yourself? Weight Watchers points is just a skeevy way of calorie counting. Why are you counting calories when you eat low carb? There is this amazing internal clock on your body that tells you when you've had enough food. It's called satiety signals. And once you're well keto adapted and once you're burning fat for fuel and once you have adequate amounts of ketones in your blood and your blood sugar is lower, guess what? When you need to stop eating, your body will tell you. Now I realize it. Emotional things can make you eat more. There's a lot of reasons why you eat that will blow by satiety. But when you're dialed in, satiety signals is your key. You don't need to be counting points or calories or nothing. I lost 64 pounds in 2017, stopped losing. I felt like I was eating too much. I got carried away, went over when calorie carb counting. I need to lose 50 pounds. Well, your desperation doesn't help. When you're that desperate to lose weight that you're just willing to go lower and lower and lower in your energy intake, that's not going to be the answer. I say you hire one of these wonderful keto nutritionists that are out there. I saw my friend Temple is on here, the ketogenic nutritionist. Go look her up. She does great work. There's a lot of really good ones, or you can DM me and I'll send you a few names of recommendations of people. But it's not a hopeless cause, but calories are not your issue. You may have some underlying issue, either health-wise or emotional-wise or psychological-wise, that could be addressed that would help with that. So hope that helps. Are you going to share this Jimmy Rants on your wall after you're done? I'd love to watch. I share every Jimmy Rants on IGTV as soon as it's over. Yeah, there she is, the.ketogenic.nutritionist. That is my friend Temple. There are crickets, she says, about vaccine injuries. Yeah, they don't want to say anything, Temple. They don't. Contemplative Hiker says 80%, talking about the Dr. Fauci saying that we need to get to 80% people taking the vaccine. People won't even fill out a 5-minute census questionnaire. I'll go one better than that, Contemplative Hiker. 80%? 80% of the American population won't even vote in the upcoming election. Let that one sink in for a moment. And yet they think 80% are going to take a vaccine? Jack says, I've never had a flu shot and have maybe only gotten the actual flu one time. A lot of people catch random viruses and I think it's the flu, but it's really not exactly. Beth says, your beard's starting to look really nice. Yeah, I started growing it out a few weeks ago. I used to have it this way all the time, and then I went to just like the goatee kind of look, but I decided to grow it back out. It's getting soft now, and I use like a little beard wax type thing to kind of keep it soft. And I'm one of those weird guys that also shampoos it and conditions it and puts a little, yeah, so yes, I love taking care of the manly stuff. So thank you for noticing, Beth. Um, Shirley's usually one of my followers over on YouTube, but she said I had to move to Instagram. Yeah, when I got a spam call, Shirley, it was shut down YouTube. It's so funny, and I need to figure out how to turn off the phone mechanism while I'm doing Jimmy Rants and then turn it back on when I'm done. The general public doesn't realize that there are thousands of viruses all around them. Yeah, I was talking, thank you, Jax. I was talking with someone the other day on one of my podcasts, and they said, oh yeah, if you did like a little swab of your throat right now, you would have streptococcus, you would have, it was Dr. Ben Tapper that said this, you'd have streptococcus, you'd have all kind of little organisms in your mouth. But we don't get sick from them because our body is very well adept at dealing with them. Why? Because we've been exposed to them. This whole notion of running away from COVID-19 is about the most idiotic thing in the world. You don't fight a virus by running away from it. The longer you run away from it, the more susceptible you become. So if you're obsessively washing your hands and you're constantly socially distancing and you're putting on a mask and you're never really exposing yourself to germs, look up germ versus terrain theory and you tell me which one makes more sense. And the longer we stay apart from one another, the longer we keep up this charade about wearing masks, that we shouldn't, that we're scared of other people because of this coronavirus thing. Look, we need to be exposed. And people are like, well, that's so heartless, you're going to kill people. Guys, 99+% of the people that get this thing survive at vastly higher than 99%. We need to stop pretending like this was ever a big deal. It's not. Yes, people have died. Yes, it's been something we've had to deal with. But we don't shut down everything just to close the economy, just to deal with a virus of all things. Bubonic plague? Yes. If people were dropping dead, walking in the street, yes, we would shut down the world. But for something that the vast majority of people barely even registered anything on, no, this was not worth it. The collateral damage from this is far too great. We have had more destruction from the measures put in place about COVID-19 than we'll ever have from COVID-19. And it's tough. And I know some people have had this. I'm not saying anything that oh, they deserved it, or oh, are you going to tell their families that they this is fake? No, but they already had comorbidities, and on average 3 comorbidities, and they didn't have the immune system to take care of it. If you're in that category, you know who you are. Do all the things. But for the people that have robust immune systems, let them get back out there and live their lives. And we, as those free people allowed to make that choice, will take on that responsibility of what happens. Like, stop trying to be my nanny and protecting me from me. Let me be the responsible agent here. And if I happen to get COVID-19 and I happen to get sick enough to go to the hospital, then that's on me. We got to stop with this shaming of people wanting to live their lives and get back what so many people unfortunately have lost. I feel for all those small business owners that have had to close their doors. And guys, quite frankly, my business has taken a huge hit. So many of these people that have been my sponsors, these companies, they are scared half to death of losing everything they have poured their life savings into. And so they don't have money to advertise with me anymore. And so it's decimated my business. I'm okay. I'm not complaining. I definitely am a very blessed man. But I've had some kind of financial kind of issues where I've lived on my eggs for the most part from my backyard chickens, which I'm very grateful for. I have added in a few other things. I bought some steaks recently, and occasionally I have a rotisserie chicken, but it's been a tough year and a tough year for all of us. Was all of the decimation of our livelihoods worth something where people have a recovery rate of 0.003? Like, it's amazing to me we were willing to sacrifice all of that for that little minuscule, and I'll still hammer it till the cows come home. In March, they told us 2 to 3 million people would be dead within 6 weeks if we didn't lock down. So we locked down. And 7 months later, yes, we've had 200,000 people dead, but 200,000 is a far minuscule cry to the 2 to 3 million they were saying we were going to lose. And so I'm fed up. I'm at my wit's end about this, and you should be too. We got to stop listening to all the propaganda where people are talking about cases and all the kind of abnormalities with the testing. Like, I think I am not alone in being at my wit's end over this COVID-19 thing. Is it real? Obviously. But is it this great killer that it was made out to be and is still being made out to be by the media? Not even close. Let's get it back out there, live our lives, and let what happens happen. And let people make that choice. That's what's really made me most upset. I have had the choice taken away from me to be able to live my life the way I want to live. And I know a lot of you guys have had that frustration as well. Shirley says, YouTube doesn't like you talking about zinc, apparently. That's when it started acting up. Yeah, well, that is funny. Lady Lixel, did you and Dr. John Lemansky ever come out with your book? So yeah, he and I were working on a book, and then I went away on sabbatical, but then COVID hit, and he's been one of the frontline doctors with COVID-19. And so it's on the back burner, and I don't know if it's going to come out because the kind of the keto publishing world is way on the outskirts. Back when I wrote Keto Clarity, this was the first book that had keto in the title, and that was 2014 when that came out. Here in 2020, keto as a publishing imprint, saleability kind of message is dead. It's gone. The heyday of keto in the publishing world is gone. So when I write books in the future, they probably won't have keto in the title. But yeah, so that's what happened with the one with Dr. Lemansky. Because of COVID-19, everything got thrown to the side. And of course, he's heavily under stress right now. He's not putting himself under more stress to complete this book. So I don't know if that kills the book or if maybe a year or two from now we could reincarnate it and come out with it then. Just stay tuned. You'll know, Lady Lixel. How long do you think this fear of COVID and the dogma around masks will last? Until November the 4th, surely. I hate being so jaded. In general, I'm a very optimistic and happy-go-lucky guy, but I have just grown more and more concerned about all this. Now, I'm not going to belabor the point. I just did a little mini rant just a moment ago about COVID, but yeah, I just feel like a lot of this has been less about public health and more about manipulation and agenda. And I don't like being manipulated, and I don't like someone else pushing their agenda on me. So, wit's end. I'm there. Kosha says, I fasted a lot but didn't lose an inch on keto. Oh, you already gave me that question, so I will skip on. Are you worried about vitamin A toxicity after your interview with Judy Barnes-Baker? So she did put it on my radar screen. So I interviewed this lady, Judy Barnes-Baker, on the Live and La Vida Low Carb show last week now. You can find the interview as a Jimmy Rants bonus episode over on YouTube or at llvlc.com. But she talked about getting toxicity to vitamin A. I mean, it's certainly intriguing to me, contemplative hiker, that maybe it could be something, but until I can get tested for my vitamin A, I won't know issue. And I think if you're going to look into this, you definitely need to know where you stand with your vitamin A. And if it shows that I have toxic levels, or anybody has toxic levels, then you do all the things that she talked about to try to lower it. For her, it was a retinol cream, which was like pure vitamin A that she was rubbing on her skin daily, and it was getting absorbed. So I don't use those kinds of creams. I'm trying to think. I do eat a lot of eggs, which has vitamin A in it, as does my butter. So yeah, for me personally, I'm not worried about it right this moment, but it is something of intrigue if people are interested. Jack says, I always say weight loss is the least amazing thing keto does. It can do so much more. It does. I love that I have like bounding energy. You know, people often like to make fun of me. And somebody just today on one of my posts said something about, oh, with a name like Living Low Carb, man, I would think you wouldn't be such a lard ass and you would be healthy. So there's assumptions made that when you have weight on the body, you can't possibly be healthy. And I've talked about this many times before. And by the way, don't feel bad for me. I get those all the time. If those were going to upset me, they would have upset me many years ago. I get it pretty much on a daily basis. And it is what it is. I've just learned to deal with it. So I love the energy I get. I love that I can come on camera and be full on. My brain is just sparkling all the time. Can you imagine if I truly was unhealthy and had all these all this kind of dastardliness in my body that people think I do just based on what they see on the outside? Would I have the energy? Would I have the mental acuity? Would I have the ability to come on here and elucidate ideas in an intellectual way? No. No. But that's lost on people. They don't think about that. They just want to judgy because you got jiggly chins. Oh well. Taryn says, I give myself a flex day when I eat anything, but I'm guilty as one day becomes 2 days very easily. Yes, it does. It can be very easy to fall into that pattern, unfortunately. What's one of the few things we can have anytime and should have in our pantry at all times? I think you could have pretty much anything that's low carb, made with real food ingredients, pretty much anytime you want. Obviously, in my refrigerator and in my house, I get free eggs from my backyard chickens. So those are always on the plenty. I ate 8 eggs earlier, and I got about 1.5 dozen I'm looking in there in my kitchen. I keep grass-fed butter on hand all the time. I try to keep steaks on hand. I try to keep nuts. On occasion, I will have some raw almonds and things like that. Yes, I'm not perfect with the carnivore. When I want some nuts, I will have them. And really anything that makes it enjoyable and sustainable. This is the thing. People are like, well, what do I eat? I'm like, you eat what you want, what you desire, what you find interesting and delicious and healthy for you. So do that. Tom says, I'm carnivore for over 3 years. On year 2, started with supplements, had a huge positive impact. Obviously, those carnivores out there have no idea what they're talking about. Yeah, well. Beth says, what if you sent your phone into Do Not Disturb before you go live? Yeah, that's one of the things I was thinking about. But then I can't go live because you need an active, well, I guess you could because you can go on the Wi-Fi, Beth. I will try that the next time. Thank you for the suggestion. I figured there was like you could do some kind of a setting that would turn off the phone feature while you're doing this kind of thing. Shirley says, scammers ruining my day by ruining your day. I get them all hours. I mean, literally, I was in my bed. I go to bed super early, you guys. Last night it was 7:20, but then I was up at 2:20 this morning. And I saw like 3 missed calls when I woke up this morning. And I'm going, why are you people calling all hours of the day? And most of the time it's just this automated, you're a lucky winner, pack your bags, going to the Caribbean. I'm like, not me, not right now. All hours of the day. Joshua says, I had some rice cakes. Oh, poor dude. Please don't eat those. With nut butter and honey, and I felt like death afterwards. That's from a low-calorie snack. Yeah. Oof, I have nightmares about the rice cakes. Very much. Mama kept those around. She'd get those like pseudo flavored ones. They'd be like blueberry rice cakes. I'm like, ooh, this will be. No, it's not good. It tasted like blueberry flavored styrofoam, basically. Um, Joshua also said we would have to go back to work even if it was the bubonic plague. Yeah, we would. Because at the end of the day, you still have to make a living, right? All right, thank you, Instagram. We're going to pop over here now to my Facebook page, see what they have to say on this Ask Me Anything. Keep the questions coming in, you guys. See what you guys have to say. What's up, Facebook? Jimmy says, what is your opinion on PUFAs, the polyunsaturated fatty acids causing insulin resistance, more than carbs? I don't think it's more than carbs. I think maybe it's on par with carbs. And my reasoning there are the polyunsaturated fats, by the way, are the vegetable oils, canola oil, those kinds of things, soybean oil, cottonseed oil. It's in all the processed foods. Those things directly raise your inflammation levels. And so how do you get insulin resistant? You raise things in your body, which would then mess with your insulin pathways and everything. So when you raise inflammation, guess what happens? You raise blood sugar. Guess what happens when blood sugar goes up? It also raises insulin and it messes up the whole hormonal pathway. So more than carbs? No. On par with carbs? Probably. Usually though, people when they have PUFAs, they're eating them with refined carbohydrates, and it's that 1-2 punch of carbs and vegetable oils that is the dastardly, and it's so dangerous for your cardiovascular health. In my book, Cholesterol Clarity, I called those two the twin villains in your health, is carbs and vegetable oils. And so eliminate both, and then you don't have any issues with insulin resistance, cardiometabolic issues. What foods are high in zinc, says Jill. So you might want to look that up. There's a variety of foods. If you just type in foods high in zinc on a DuckDuckGo search, it'll show you that. So Jimmy says, did you know vitamin D needs to be taken with a meal containing fat or your body will not absorb it properly? I do know it's a fat-soluble vitamin, and I have been talking about that quite a bit. I did a whole Jimmy Rants just the other day about vitamin D, and I made that point that if you're going to eat a fat-soluble vitamin, you need to eat fat with it in order for it to be absorbed. But most of the gel caps of vitamin D come in, like the ones I just purchased from the vitamin shop, they had olive oil as the oil. So yes, you do need to have vitamin D with oil for it to be absorbed. Kira says, I recently shared a before and after of my keto progress in a private group for MS, and I tried sharing with that community that the low-carb diet helps the autoimmune disorders. Someone took my pic, shared it publicly, reported it, and my appeal was denied. Fast forward 2 weeks, I post an unrelated story about love with a pic of a man and a woman, and Facebook scrubbed my post saying I shared a pic of people, and I wasn't in the photo, so I'm not allowed to share. Can't appeal that either. Yeah, Facebook has gotten strange, guys. And guys, if you're on Facebook, get ready. You think the censorship has been interesting and strange so far? You ain't seen nothing yet. When they implement this thing I talked about earlier, if you missed it, if you came in late, they have a new kind of Supreme Court appeal process at Facebook. And they can remove things and not tell you why. You can try to appeal, and apparently they've got this appellate kind of court thing to let you do it with Facebook. But guys, you ain't seen censorship yet. I think in about a month from now, we're going to see a level of censorship that we have never, ever seen across all of social media. Just you wait. By the way, I am going completely away in the months of November and December. All hell is going to break loose in America in November and December. I hope you realize that. And I'm getting out of Dodge. I'm getting offline. For my mental health sake, I'm not even going to partake in news. I don't want to be around online. It's just not going to be a fun place until the dust settles from what's going to happen November 3rd. That may be alarmist to some of you, but I'm a realist. I have observed things long enough to know it ain't going to be a fun place in America in the months of November and December. And I'm not going into hiding, but I'm not going to be online for those 2 months just to take a breath. So just a warning, October 31st will be my last Jimmy Rants. And when I sign off, I won't come back till 2021. I don't even know if it'll be January. We'll have to see what's going on, but it's going to be real. But look out on social media, and that includes Instagram. Instagram is owned by Facebook, so if they're doing it on Facebook, don't think they can't do it here too. It's going to be very interesting. How did you win your appeal after YouTube took down your channel last year? Kara wants to know. I had enough of my followers that said, hey, he's legit. So last year in August, right before I went away on sabbatical, YouTube basically banned my whole channel and took it all the way down. And never told me why, just said I was in violation of community standards, never told me why, went away within 24 hours, and I couldn't even like do an appeal. My account was gone. Thankfully, enough of my followers wrote to them and said, hey, he's legit, what are you doing? And within 3 weeks, they brought it back up. They never did explain what I did wrong, and they never explained anything about it. It just came back, and it's back. That's how it went. So I don't know, Kira, other than my followers saved it. Julia wants to know, what are your thoughts on powdered collagen? Is eating meat enough? So I actually use gelatin, and I've shown the little recipe, and I just made some this morning of little gelatin electrolyte bites that I do using the Keto Vitals with the premium gelatin from Further Food. But I think collagen along with eating meat is probably a good idea. Big fan. Rebecca says, I just jumped on, so I don't know if I missed something, but have you lost any of your colleague relationships over your views? I haven't had anybody say anything to me as it relates to that. So I assume you mean views on COVID-19 and on the Black Lives Matter and some of the things I've been talking about more and more lately. Nobody has talked to me about those things. And I know there are disagreements on this, but that's what it is in any point in life. We're going to have disagreements about all kinds of things, but that doesn't mean you're no longer friends, you're no longer going to be associated with one another. So, all right, thank you, Facebook. Let's pop over here now to my YouTube channel. And sorry, YouTube, I lost you twice today. So if you had to type in your comment several times, I apologize that you had to do that. Christy says, do you know if there are any studies that measure loose skin using different weight loss methods? I find that I have far less using keto and IF than many others that have lost 91 pounds. Yeah, fasting has kind of a well-known effect of helping with the loose skin because of the autophagy effect, and it just kind of cleans up some of those dead proteins all around the belly area. Now, it's not a panacea to help everybody, but I have heard anecdotally, I haven't seen any studies, but I have heard anecdotally from Dr. Fung and Megan Ramos that when their patients go on a full-on fast and do regular fasting, that loose skin does tend to tighten up a bit. Harpsy says, have you learned about snoring and metabolic problems? Well, obviously, if you have some metabolic issues, that can manifest as obesity. And with obesity, that can make it a little more propensity to be snoring. So, yeah, I haven't heard any studies per se, but it's certainly something I'm very interested in. How do you lose weight with mobility issues? Cut your carbs way down. Eat to satiety. Make sure you're getting good quality fat and protein. And even without mobility, I'm assuming in your legs, you're referring to the mobility, you could still do things with upper body. So the parts of your body that still work well, still work them, and you get the workout from that. Darlene says, true about the variety of viruses out there. Yeah, and we know, I've talked about them many times on this show, that previous exposure to coronaviruses actually have somewhat of a protective measure for you now against COVID-19. And T-cell production is also very effective in fighting this thing. Maria, you're amazing. Thank you for taking the time to educate people like me. Well, you're welcome. Christy said, I just bought Cholesterol Clarity. Well, enjoy. Cholesterol Clarity. This was my first book with a major publisher, and so always will have a special place in my heart. Python says, how about micronutrients like vitamins and minerals? On keto, I can suffer from a lack of them. Why would you lack in them? This is a common mistake that people make. They think that ketogenic diets don't have all the vitamins and minerals of a diet heavy in fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and all that. There is more bioavailable vitamins and minerals found in animal-based foods. I did a whole Jimmy Rants recently with my friend Amber O'Hearn, a longtime carnivore diet eater, and she did a study, you guys, that was published in a journal that talked about nutrient density and whether you can get all the vitamins and minerals on a carnivore diet. Go look that one up. It was about a couple weeks ago when that came out. And you'll be surprised by how many vitamins and minerals you can get, especially when you eat nose to tail, which is all the little bits and pieces more than just the muscle meats. You can get plenty of micronutrients from them. What happens to excess dietary fat if you don't gain weight? What happens to excess dietary fat? So don't eat excess dietary fat, Francis. I'm not understanding what you're asking. What happens to excess dietary fat? If you go by satiety and you're eating excess dietary fat, I suppose you could excrete it in some ways. That would be kind of gross, but don't eat beyond satiety and you won't eat excess dietary fat. Your body will try to use the fatty acids for all of its components, but if you blow by satiety, you can gain weight even over consuming that. Craig says, I just started the Wim Hof breathing and daily cold shower protocol. Any tips as a newbie you can share? Yeah, don't be freaked out by it. Don't be weirded by it. Just do it. It's going to seem weird. Everything that's new always seems weird until it becomes normal to you. So just keep that in mind. It's going to seem weird when you start doing the and then when you get into that cold water and you suddenly are freezing and shivering, you're like, what in the world have I gotten myself into? You just have to know it's part of the process, just like anything else, of learning something new. It will. Gonna miss you when you take your time off, says Harpsy. Harpsy, I think you know me well enough that I need that. Can you guys imagine if I'm here in November and December and all hell is breaking loose in our country with fires and riots and all the things that are expected to happen, no matter who wins? I think we're gonna have some craziness, and then the delay in the election results and all the aftermath of that, and then just the ugly. You think it's ugly now? It's gonna be ugly. I have had a rough year, not just professionally, but in my personal life, and so yeah, it's gonna be tough, and so I need to get away. And it's one thing I learned on my sabbatical last year is I work hard, and I don't know how to stop. And so if I force myself to stop and do it for a 2-month period, then that's going to be good for my mental health, my physical health. And plus some of the things in my personal life may start to calm down a little bit while I'm gone in those 2 months. I don't know yet, but we'll see. I'm hoping. I definitely want to go see my mom and my sister in Florida to visit them, and because I haven't seen them all year, and my poor mom has myasthenia gravis, so she's been basically stuck at home all year long, has not gotten out really at all. Thankfully my sister can go get her stuff, but it's been a tough year, you guys, and so gonna take those 2 months off just for my own sanity's sake. All right, let's come back over here. I think I saw a few comments come in after I left. Facebook is total trash. I only stay on there for connection with family and friends. Yeah, it's unfortunate Facebook has now gone down the path of Twitter. Twitter has been a dumpster fire for years. Now we have Facebook going that way. Instagram tends to be one of the kinder places for interaction, but it's got its moments. There's certain people, and I'm learning, you guys, that if someone pushes it a little too far, I'm okay. Block, delete, moving on in my life. Like, I lost a lot of friends this year. I lost a few followers because of some of the things I've been writing about. That's fine. But then I gained back a whole bunch of new ones that the old ones weren't a part of my tribe anyway. The new ones are a part of my tribe. So I'm good. I'm good. Um, and so I try to see the bright side of things, and that is definitely the bright side of 2020 for me. Come see me in Florida too, says Beth. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going to go. I am going to Pensacola, Florida, which is where my mom and sister are. I'm not sure where else I'm going to visit. I will tell you, I have not hugged very many people this year. Usually I have hugged multiple people at keto conferences in the thousands by now. And I think I've hugged 3 people in 2020. So to say it's been a tough year in that realm is an understatement. Rebecca says it's not okay to agree to disagree anymore. So sad. Yeah, I even did a Jimmy Rants on that whole idea of agree to disagree is really not what we think it is. It's not. It's kind of, okay, well, I lost the battle. I guess we agree to disagree. All right, guys, let me get off of here. Super long Ask Me Anything here today, but that's the way I like it. When you guys have questions and we have conversations and I have technical issues with Facebook, we're going to go long some days. So thank you so much for being here today on Jimmy Rants. That's all the time we have for this episode. As always, if you want to engage live in the content, go follow me right here on Instagram. I am at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, engage live. We are here Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So thank you guys for being here today. We also simulcast live over here on my Facebook channel. Thank you guys. And if it doesn't knock me offline twice today, it did YouTube. I am going live on YouTube as well. So if you're watching this on the replay on YouTube, I'm sorry it got truncated. Go watch the replay when we post it up there in about an hour. You'll be able to see that over on YouTube. But if you did miss the live, go watch it on replay right here on Instagram, on IGTV. Pop on over there and watch that. You can also watch it on YouTube. And then finally, pop on over to jimmyrants.com, the official website for the show. See all the past episodes there and support my work either with the Patreon link or the PayPal link. And a donation of any amount would be greatly appreciated. All of those links, jimmyrants.com. Okay, you guys, have a great, great weekend. Enjoy the cooler weather. Get out there, get some sunshine, breathe fresh air, do all the things, stop living in fear, and go live your life. See ya. All right. Stay. All right, guys, thank you for being here. I actually have a podcast that I'm on. I'm on her show, so I need to get to her, Tara Garrison. I was supposed to have Tara on my show, what was it, Tuesday, I was going to record. And I show up, and I'm all ready to go here in Jimmy Rants Studio, getting ready, and then she forgot. And she was like, what, you're not on my show till Friday? I said, no, that's your show, and I will be there Friday, but you forgot my show. And so she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I forgot. I said, it's all good. You know, I've done this so long. I'm used to people wigging out on me on interviews and shuffling things around. My problem isn't finding people to be on my show. My problem is I have so many people I want to interview, I ain't got a place to put them. And I'm running out of time because I'm leaving, the end of October is when I'm stopping the work until the new year. So I'm losing that November, December where I would have another 8 to 10 guests that I could air. So I was like, all right, you may have to get pushed to 2021 if we keep pushing this back. But I'll be on her show at 1 o'clock today. And obviously I post anytime I'm on someone else's show, I post it all over social media. So you will see that very soon. But let me pop off of here for now. Thank you guys so much for joining me today here on Jimmy Rants, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye. All right, YouTube. I owe you a huge mea culpa. I am so sorry that we had those technical issues. I literally got a spam call, and as soon as I ended the call, just so it wouldn't keep ringing, it froze, you guys. And like I sat there and watched it for a while, and I'm like, okay, is it gonna unfreeze? And it was just like me, I was just like frozen. So I had to literally pull it all the way up here, you know, force it to quit and go back in, type it all in, get a little funny picture, and then go back live again. And then it rang again, and I'm going, okay, and then froze again. So if you stuck around, thank you for doing that. My apologies that happened to you, and I will definitely try to turn on Do Not Disturb from now on. Abel says the Cowboys jersey is legit. Cowboys! You work very hard. Thank you, Harpsy. Sounds healthy to take a break. All the best. Thank you for that. Maria says blessings. Shirley says it's definitely beneficial to follow you on multiple platforms. Yes, if you're not following me, obviously you are on YouTube. That's where you're watching me. But if you're not following me on Instagram, that's the place to follow. It's a little bit harder on Facebook because they limit me to 5,000 followers on the page that I go from. I've thought about doing a Jimmy Rants Facebook fan page, which would be unlimited, but I've just not pulled that trigger. We might do that in 2021. I will tell you, we're trying to go live straight from jimmyrants.com. The technology is there, and my web guy's been trying to help me with that. So if we can get that and make that a reality, that would definitely take away the concerns about censorship, which are very real, on Instagram and Facebook and all the other, and even here on YouTube. So I don't want to have to leave these platforms, but they're leaving us content providers no choice. So, all right, guys, let me get off of here for now. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy your weekend. Get out there. I love this time of year. It's so cool outside. I've got a hot tub back there, and so in the mornings when it's like upper 40s, low 50s, you see the steam coming off the hot tub, and then I like to like stand in the middle of my backyard when it's dark. You hear the crickets chirping and everything. It's just so gloriously peaceful. And so I'm getting a little cold thermogenesis, letting that cold air hit me, and then I pop in that hot tub, and it's like, so fun, so fun. All right, guys. Go get out there, and we will see